Welcome back to Life's a Vacay. If you have never been here, welcome. And I'm Cha Jones. I am an international relocation specialist who is also a soft life and soul alignment coach. And today I'm going to be doing something different. I've never done this. But for those of you who know, in my business as a consultant, helping people find their right destination, I do astrocartography reports. And so with that, I look at what is the best place for them based off of their astrological natal chart. So today, I thought since it's July 1st, let's get into astrological energy. And since most of my viewers are either mothers, single mothers, um, travelers, or women who want to create and design softer lives, this report is going to be specifically for that collective. Not to say that this energy is not going to affect the entire collective, because it will. This is a collective energy report. So let's get right into it. As we know, it is July, and the beginning of July is Cancer season. So July actually has several retrogrades that I'm going to go over today. And then I also want to talk about just the energy. Cancer is ruled by the moon. And so the moon is all about your emotions. So Cancer, being a water sign, is all about intuition. It's about emotion. It's also about home. So Cancer is about developing home, establishing home, family. And so for all my travelers, this is going to be a month where you're going to start questioning, especially you nomads out there who are wandering the world. You may feel like I need to have some more stability or a more secure place that I call home, right? So we'll get into that. Um, let's start with the overall energy of July. So July is going to be about a month of recalibrating. And listen, you may feel like there's some things that need to just leave and you haven't really been addressing them. You haven't allowed them to come up, evaluate them and let them go. This is the month for you to do that. Also, um, you know, because Cancer is intuitive, it's a water sign. This is a time for you to use your intuition. Don't second guess yourself. Don't say, oh, well, no, it just might be bad timing. No, it's because you feel it, you know it, trust it. So are you ready to stop performing? Are you ready to stop doing all the things that are ego based, all the things that are preventing you from showing up authentically? Because this is the time to collectively start thinking about how you're showing up and be real about how you're showing up. So there are 6 major energies that are reshaping the collective experience, and let's talk about them. So July 4th, which is a holiday in America, this is going to be a time where Neptune stations retrograde in Aries. So Neptune is a planet of dreams, illusions, spiritual longing. And then when it goes retrograde in Aries, we're being called to stop fooling ourselves, stop operating in illusions, um, find our own independence, our leadership. And the question is, how have I been doing it all along? Or is that the narrative? So if you have been thinking, I don't really have support. Nobody supports me. I'm out here by myself. I'm doing this all alone. That's your narrative. This is a time for you to challenge that and really get clear about why is this your narrative and shift it. So here's what the retrograde is saying. You are a pioneer, and so the retrograde is saying, yes, you are a pioneer. You paved the way for many things, but that does not mean that you can't be held and can't be supported. So lean into that. And just because you are a pioneer or a leader, that doesn't mean that you don't need support. You can lead without losing your connection to spirit. We are in a time where we are being called to realign with our soul's purpose. This is not about logical thinking anymore. This is about centering yourself and following your intuition and being spirit led. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about spirituality. I'm talking about what you know to be true because it's inside of you, not outside of you. We're not looking outside anymore. We're starting to come within. And then the next thing is you don't have to pretend that you have it all together. If it's falling apart, hell, call it what it is. It's falling apart. I'm not as strong as I thought I used to be, right? I need help. I need support. And ask for it because that's the only way that you can move forward. Now, the next energy that we're going to talk about is happening on July 7th, and that's Uranus entering Gemini. Uranus is a disruptor. It comes to shake things up. So if you have not been being authentic, if you have not been honoring your word, standing 10 toes down on what you truly believe, this planet is here to disrupt innovations and liberations. And Gemini is about communication. It's ruled by Mercury. We're going to talk about Mercury is going in retrograde around the 17th of the month. So Gemini rules your words, your learning, how you communicate. So overall, there's going to be a lot of disruption on or around how you communicate this month and who you're communicating with. And a lot of it is about how you're communicating with yourself. Okay? So change how we communicate and consume information. So as we step into a more technological era, this also is information. A lot of people are using AI. This is also about using your discernment to question what's true and what's not true at this time. Because as we become more technologically savvy and start using more AI and more technology to do things, there is going to be a thin line between truth and reality. And so we're going to have to question that more. So new technologies are going to start reshaping our daily lives. The collective push is to question outdated beliefs. What about this is not right and what about this should not go with me? So this is for my travelers. The message can be that you may have sudden decisions around, should I learn a language? How should I integrate a language? Or leaning more into a radical shift of what, like I said earlier, what is home for me? What's my home base? How do I define home? Because you may have been operating under the auspice that, wherever, and I say this like Papa, this is the song that's coming to me. Papa was a Rolling Stone, wherever I lay my hat is my home. And that's how you may be operating as a nomad, or maybe just that's how you've been traveling. Maybe that is not serving you anymore, and you don't want to just lay your hat anywhere. You want to actually put down some stakes in a place and say, you know what? This is my new home, right? And then for the mothers out there, this may be showing up with your children having new ways of thinking, and they maybe even challenge you as they grow. So step back, breathe, and don't try to take this as you're a bad mother or you're doing something wrong. This is just, look at it as growth spurts. This is going to be an opportunity for them to rapidly grow. And these new children are really good with technology. They're really good with learning things like on the cuff. So it's like, hey, move into that, allow them to have that. But if it's challenging your disposition, you need to start asking yourself some questions about, where am I being challenged in these growths so that you can too grow. All right. So then the next energy is going to be July 10th. And this is going to be your full moon that is going to be in Capricorn. Capricorn is about being very stable in work. It's workaholics. They about their money. They about this. It's an earth sign. So it's about ambition. It's about leadership. It's about structures. So the full moon is going to be here to talk about how are you building legacy? How are you being ambitious in your dreams? What structures are you using? And what structures have you been holding? I can't get that out. But what structures have you been holding that you don't need to hold anymore? And so full moons are also about letting go of what no longer serves you. So you may be asking yourself, what have I been building my life upon? And is that my truth now? It may not be. Am I chasing goals that no longer are what I'm really thinking about or want or desire? And how do I let them go if that is what I need to do? What needs to be released so that I can create success on my terms, not other people's terms? And it's really about sitting with yourself and knowing what actually supports me. So that may be one of the questions that you do in journaling. What can I release that has been blocking me? And what can I lean into that serves me well, that helps me travel well, that helps me be a better mother, that helps me step in my own authentic power so that I can show up as the woman that I absolutely want to be, that creates a softer, more tangible life for myself. So that may be something that you want to consider as we do the full moon. If you are part of full moon circles, I normally have them full moon and a new moon, and I'll put that information down in the description. So actually, I'm not going to be doing a full moon because I'm traveling. So sorry. Thought about that. I was like, I have to cancel that. So, anyways, next month I'll give you the details. On the 13th, Saturn is going to station retrograde in Pisces. And if I didn't say this earlier, retrogrades just mean that a planet is slowing down and assumes to be moving backwards and not moving forward. It's not really moving backwards. It's slowing down to a pace where you can recalibrate. These are times for you to recalibrate, rethink things, reevaluate what's going on, and using that energy, not in a negative way, but in a way for you to reposition. So I know everybody, and I'll get to Mercury in a minute, but everybody gets frantic around Mercury retrograde because they like, oh, the communications get messed up. It's not a good time to do this, that, or the other. And they use it as if Mercury has come to like really stop you in your tracks. And it's not. It's just telling you slow down. Maybe if you pay attention to what's going on, you don't make rash decisions. So let's talk about Saturn station retrograde in Pisces. And Pisces is, again, another water sign. It's all about intuition. It's about trusting yourself. And so Saturn can be looked at as a negative energy, but Saturn is just like Capricorn. It is about working and putting in the work to actually move yourself forward. So, where have you been avoiding discipline, right? In your healing process? Again, Pisces is about spirituality. So, think about your spiritual growth. If you are religious, think about your religious, you know, discipline, whatever you believe in. And it's also about creativity. So, where have I not been showing up and actually doing the work? So, what boundaries do I need to rebuild, establish, and stand 10 toes down in, especially my people who want a softer life? It's most of the time you don't have a softer life because you haven't established the boundaries that you need to have so that you can move forward in a proper manner. And where can you um, or where have you been confusing compassion with self abandonment? I'm going to say that again. Where have you confused compassion for self abandonment? This is for my soft life people and the mothers and some of y'all travelers. But just because you feel a certain way about a situation or person does not it should not allow you to abandon your beliefs, your boundaries, your dignity. So, this is giving you an opportunity to create a space where you are not operating in just doing anything and everything for everybody else. This is about creating discipline. This is about having things in order for you to move forward in the best way, in the best light. So, for those committed to a softer life, this transit reminds you softness requires structure. All right. So you don't need to get overwhelmed about it, but just start putting things in place so that your life can be softer. Maybe that's creating some more time management around something. Maybe that's about having infrastructures and structures, how you do something or implement. Maybe that is putting your work on autopilot. Those emails, you don't have to put it on an autoresponder. This is way so you don't have to be overwhelmed by what life is doing and the challenges that are coming. All right. The next thing is July 18th. We have Mercury station retrograde in Leo. Leo is about light, right? It's about standing in your light. It's about being self-centered, knowing self. They are the actors of the astrology. So when Leo shows up, it's really about you, your inner self, and how you are positioning yourself. It could be very egotistic, but when we talk about Mercury, Mercury is about communication. So how are you communicating for yourself, right? So double check your details if you're going to be traveling, because detail Mercury comes to shift up all communications. That could be travel communications. That could be looking at the details about how you're traveling, when you're traveling, double check times and make sure that you set schedule calendar alarms so that you know that you're supposed to be somewhere. And you could be like, I've been doing this for 50 years. I don't need none of that. I go off of my own, my mind tells me this, that, yes, this is not that time, because Mercury is shifting things up. In retrograde, it's all about your communication, the apparatuses for how you communicate. And oftentimes when you're traveling, it could be schedule related. Things may get shifted. Um, Things may fall apart. Technology may not be working correctly. So just double check everything. Revisit your creative voice. Again, Leo is about using you as your message. And so how are you using your message to amplify what it is that you want to do? You may need to refine your message. Double check your message, because it may get lost in translation. A lot of travelers, if you're trying to communicate something, you may find that this is a time where things are being lost in translation. So reflect on your ego. Like I said, Leo can be very egotistic. Um, don't allow your ego to run the show during this time. If you've been like doing things because you want applause, you want somebody to look at you, to give you accolades for all the things that you've done, step back from that. This retrograde is calling you out. It is asking you to come home to yourself and be more authentic. Ask yourself, who am I really? And how do I want to show up? And think about how you're communicating that message. And is it really landing with the right people? Right? So the next thing is July 22nd, which is going to be the sun enters Leo. It becomes Leo season. Again, I just said Leo is about shining. It's about standing in all of who you are. It's about your confidence. It comes to be like, listen, I'm here. Think about acting, center stage. So celebrate yourself. No apologies. Stand in your confidence. Be courageous. Move with integrity. Reclaim your birthright. And don't second guess yourself. Use your intuition to move you forward. And so this is an invitation for you to take up space, to stand in your power, and if you have relinquished your power, to call it back. If you're launching something new, sharing your story, then this is a time for you to fully integrate into that and own it. All right. And then at the end of the month, around the 30th and 31st, you have Venus entering Cancer. Again, emotions. And then Chiron stations retrograde in Aries. Chiron is the wounded healer, right? And so it can also be one of those times where everything is not what you would like for it to be, right? So as we enter this, last part of July, it's going to be about softening your energy around love, home, and self-care. So for all my people who are wanting a softer life, this is time for you to step in that. This is a beautiful time for more um, time to nourish yourself, nurture your relationships, and make sure that your home environment is what you want it to be. And so also think about, what life do I truly want? Maybe you don't have that right now. Maybe things are all in a disarray, but what can I do to create the life that I desire? And start setting that up. If you need to do some home repairs, this would be a good time to do it. If you need to put some structure around some things in your home, this is also the time to do it. And for my travelers, again, this whole month is going to question, listen, what do I call home and how do I want home to be? So let's just kind of recap what the big lessons of July are. And basically, July is this July is going to be about relinquishing the things that I have been doing to perform a certain way, to show up a certain way that may be around expectations that other people have set for me. It's about rerouting yourself in what is real and authentic. It's about rebuilding your life from a place of truth and honesty. And this month, you need to stop carrying the weight of old expectations, old ambitions, and old identities. For my travelers, you are learning that home is an energy that you create, and it shifts wherever you go, but not just a place. And it's not just a place on the map. It's what makes you feel at home. So it may not be an actual destination. It may be time for you to just reevaluate and consider what makes me feel at home. You may even have some nostalgic moments where you start thinking about home life as a child and whether that was a negative experience or a positive experience. If it was a negative experience, what did I learn that I do not want to have in my home environment? And if it was a positive experience, how do I get more of that? That may be a question for you. As a mother, you're being called to have some radical self honesty with your children and let them see you be honest in your actions, because understand they are a mirror image of you and they are watching you because you are their leader. And so they are looking for you to find safety, and you are showing them what real is. So they're looking for you to have that, and make sure that you are operating in your authentic self because they're watching you. And then for every woman out here who wants a softer life, or man who just wants to let down all the things, the burdens that they've been carrying, softness is not absent of any challenges. It doesn't mean that your life is going to magically become perfect overnight. What it does mean is that you have to choose between yourself with compassion and, excuse me, you have to choose meeting yourself with compassion without all the judgment, and lean more into asking yourself the right questions about what it is for you to truly have a softer life. truly set boundaries and truly just step into everything that you've been saying that you want. Stop saying it and actually move into it. This month is really calling us as a collective, all of us, to challenge our narratives that we have been living by and start living by what we authentically and truly want to have in our lives and how we actually want to show up. So, if this forecast resonates with you, please drop a comment. Please make sure that you like and share this video. Again, this is my first astrological energy forecast. And again, most of my people are travelers, mothers, or women who want a softer life. And I just want to say thank you for sticking with me. And again, I have been living in Malaysia for, if you haven't ever heard the story, I've been living in Malaysia for the last year. I've been an expat off and on for 15 years, and I have always loved astrology. And as my business has transitioned into this space, I just thought this is the best time to show up and do my thing. So I hope that you like it. I hope, please let me know. Do you want more of this? Tell me what you want to hear, because my goal is to do these monthly, but then also put out more information about the new moon, because me and my friends, we get together, we have new moon ceremonies, we have full moon ceremonies, and I've been doing that for the last 12 years. And so I want to actually implement that. If that's what you want to see, please put that down in a comment. And I hope to see you tomorrow. I am dropping why I'm leaving Malaysia. So stay tuned for that. Again, love you. Till next time. Peace.